Welcome to Trading Lounge and the indices, and I'd like to start with the banks because of the CPI figures that have not really pushed the stocks around a lot. They have with the banks, but not really with the tech stocks. So with the banks here, we're looking at, with the Bank of America here, we've got this low here. Most of the other banks had lows a year before that. But in this case, we've got 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and we're going up for wave 3. So this wave 3 and 4 here, we can tie into the S&P 500. And the 38.2% retracement level comes in around the 36 here. So we've got a wave 4 correction. And the wave 4 correction in this case can be counted in a few different ways. But we can expect it to move back into the 36 area before moving to the upside. So one of the banks that is leading the charge to the upside is Morgan's here. So with this case here, it had its low back in late 22 in line with the Nasdaq and the S&P and tech stocks and so on. Now in this case here, we can clearly see that we've got 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and the banks created this lower move here, which basically upset the S&P 500, but not the tech stocks. The AI situation was taking off at that point, so it didn't affect the Nasdaq. But I need to note that we need to talk about that a little bit later on as well. But we've seen this really strong move up here, which signifies a third wave. And once again, as we tie in the third wave and fourth wave here for Morgan's here as well, same with the Bank of America and same as the S&P 500, we still got further to move to the upside. But one of the reasons I wanted to show this for is because I've got I'm looking for some smart people to give us a hand to solve a bit of a problem here, because we've really got to tie the Nasdaq and the S&P in together to have any sort of serious tops. Now, it's not always that they have tops and bottoms the same. We can go back in history and look at a few things, but I won't bore you to death with that. But this particular move to the upside here, when we look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up here, I think that's fine, and then we would have wave 4, and then we'd have wave 5 for wave 3 and wave 4, and and then a bigger move here for 1 and 2, so to speak. So I've got these extra moves up here for these, but on the Nasdaq that's not there. And if I look at the sector here, this is the XLF here, the finance sector. It's on a weekly chart, the ETF there. So in this case too, we can see that the bear market in late 22 here, with a wave 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got this is the same pattern as Morgan's in a way, and also this is the same pattern for the S&P 500 as well. So when we look at this, hi there, we've got a great opportunity coming up on April the 14th to the 21st. It's going to be a free week for Trading Lounge. So you'll get access to 6 analysts that cover most markets, Forex, ASX stocks, trade recommendations for most markets, a great social chat, great education, currencies, commodities, swing trading, and so on, sectors, US sectors and US stocks. So it's a great little opportunity to check out Trading Lounge, absolutely no cost whatsoever. Just put in your name and email, and I will respond with you for your logins for April the 14th to 21st, and that will be at tradinglounge.com. So look forward to seeing you on the inside. Sector here, this is the XLF here, the finance sector. It's on a weekly chart, the ETF there. So in this case too, we can see that the bear market in late 22 here, with a wave 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got this is the same pattern as Morgan's in a way, and also this is the same pattern for the S&P 500 as well. So when we look at this here, if we look at 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, so primary degree and intermediate degree here, then minor degree 1, 2, 3, 4, we're in wave 4 here with the banks. So when we look at this in terms of the S&P 500, this is primary 1, primary 2, 1 and 2 here, the same as the banks, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So that can pull back. But my problem is that if we look at this and we go, okay, so we've got wave 4 here, then wave 5, and then wave 4, and then wave 5 up here for this one, and then wave 4 coming back, because wave 4s can all line up together, but they tend to, a lot of the time, tend to be a little bit higher than each other. And then we've got this move here for wave 5, which won't be too long, because the situation, this wave 4 to wave 5 here will be roughly the same length as wave 1 over here. So we can plonk that there, and we can look for this 1 and 2. Now, wave 2 can come back 60%, or it could come back 20% or 30% or 40% or 50%. So it's always a little bit of an unknown. But anyway, that's all right. But what I'm sort of thinking here is that I've got this 3, 4, 5 up here for 3, and then 4, and then 5. So this is where my problem comes in, because when we have a look at the NASDAQ here for a moment, I'll just move that out of the way. In the NASDAQ here, I've labeled this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. Now on the banks, this wave 4 here came down and overlapped over here. So if I bring the S&P back here, this move here came back and just sort of overlapped this a little bit. So it's difficult. So on the NASDAQ, we've got this as like a wave 4 sitting over here, this wave 4 here, which kind of makes sense in a way, and then we're moving up. But the thing, my problem is that if we look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put wave 4 there, we'll get to that later, but wave 5. So all we've really got is this move, and this move to get to a top, to get to this 1 and 2. And my problem is that we really need to bring the S&P and the banks into this. So we've either got to change the NASDAQ, or we've got to change this one here. Because if I bring the S&P back here for a moment again, you can see here we've got this move, and this move, and then the 1 and 2 here. Over here we've got this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to be out of whack a little bit, and that's starting to sort of bother me now. I mean, I've known that for a while, but we need to resolve that situation. So any ideas we can just go into the into the indices chat lounge, and let's use all our brains to solve this if we can. And the other point too with this is that, if we're talking about the NASDAQ, we've got to talk about NVIDIA that's been leading the charge to the upside here. This is a weekly chart. And it's also got the low here, the same as the NASDAQ and the S&P, the late 22 here, and the same as the US banks and so on. And there is a good case for having a nice, wave 1 and 2 up here, and certainly a strong case for this being a wave 3 here. So once again here, this little thing here, we could look at this as wave 3 here and wave 4 here, and then going up for wave 5 here for this, and then 4 and 5 here to make wave 3 up here. Can we just pull this in here? So I think it's good that I share this issue, this problem here, because we've got to get the timing of all this right. I mean, normally I can sort of steer the ship, with things in a reasonable sort of way, and compared to with Elliott, but none of us get it right all the time, so that's the issue here. So so in this case here, if we just take this here, and this little wave 4's done, by the way, I think we'll just check on that in a moment. We're looking at that in the stocks video. So this will be the 1 and 2 here for this, so wave 2 here. So in this case, we've got this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So this is very much like This one's very much like the S&P here rather than the Nasdaq here. So I guess the problem really lies in my count with the Nasdaq, one would think. So we've got to kind of resolve this a little bit better here. I mean, on the S&P, we've got this as a wave 2 here. Maybe we need to bring this up here as a wave 2 here. I'm just sort of shooting the breeze here a little bit and put this up here as wave 1. That would line things up with the rest of the world. Anyway, I just wanted to share that a little bit. And I said that we'll just have a quick look at the Nvidia here as well, because, you know, it's one of the most actively traded stocks. So we're going to go from weekly right down into the tick chart and just pick up that wave 3 and 4 here. So we've been in here for a while with this A, B and C for this wave 4 over here, and as I was explaining this morning, it does appear that we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, and if we take out that top there, that will give us an impulse wave to the upside. So, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can come back and trade that on that point once we get that impulse wave in there, but just pointing that out, and we'll end up taking that top out. So we'll be in a bullish run here for a little while for that. Anyway, I just thought a bit of a side note there on that. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to chat about that a little bit, and it was good to talk about it because I kind of resolved it a little bit myself. I think the problem's in with the Nasdaq count, I think that was where the issue lies. Anyway, we've got to get into this wave 4 here. As I mentioned with the banks, Bank of America, you know, the CPI figures obviously gave that a bit of a nudge, and it's down, you know, 2.8%, and the wave 4, so it can still come down here further. So it's likely that the other markets will come down further as well. Okay, so that means that this can come down further. So if we cut through to here, it's weekly, so let's just go to daily and pick it up and there. So the 38.2% here is a little bit lower here for this wave 4 here. It's very close to the 5,000 at this point. There is really good support at the 5,100 in here. So if we go from the day to the 20k, so we're heading into the intraday at the moment. So on this 5,100 here, there's a lot of support here. So I could put wave 4 here, and this actually is a case for that. We'll look at that in a moment. But there's also, you know, there's still, we can come down to this 5,100 area here. So we either push straight up from here, or we're going to come down into here, and then we're going to be pushing up at this point, something like that. And when we talk about the 100 here, we can talk about group 2 here. So anyway, you know, group 2 and group 1 above and below this situation. So on the 20k to 1k here, this count, I've got wave 3 over here with an A and a B and a C for the A wave, an A, and then an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and 5 waves up for the C wave for B, and then down for the C wave here. It's possible to have a low in here. I suggest that we would need some stronger evidence because this could just be an A wave and a B wave here and come up here somewhere and then come down again at this point, some short covering or something, you know. So we've got to be a little bit careful about this. So I'm suggesting on the 5,200, we look for a classic trading levels pattern. So if this is the 5-2 across here, we want the first high above the level. Don't chase that up. Let it be. It'll come back and go long above this one, or find some high to go long on at that point. That would be the safe trade at that point. Of course, you could go long just above here and keep the stop under here as well, but I don't know how far that will get you at this point. This particular correction, I kind of like it with a low in here, but it may not be the end of it. If I have a look at the SPY here, it also shows quite a nice pattern. 1 degree smaller though, the top here, wave 3, an ABC for the A wave, a B wave here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it does show you know, possibility of a low being in here, but I'm not really seeing an impulse wave here. I'm getting overlapping wave structures. Well, it's not overlapping just yet because none of these lows have been overlapped just yet. But as soon as they do get overlapped, such as here, then you'll know that you're going to be coming down here further at that point. So anyway, it's just a nice clean count on that particular market. So Rightio. So that's the S&P, and over to the Nasdaq here. So it's the same sort of thing as well. We're looking at that wave 4 there. I won't bore you to death, but we will go into this particular intraday chart and have a look at this. So we'll need to first of all upgrade this to this wave 4 over here. So this is quite a complicated correction down here as well, and it can be counted in different ways, but it does count quite nice. The way that I have it here is an A and a B and a C for the B wave, down for the C wave it's the A and a B and a C for the B wave. But because it's working in 3 waves, that means that this can be down for an A wave, a little A, B, C for a B wave up here, and then down for a C wave here. So it can end up being working also in 3 waves to this point over here. This will be the support area here for this. The CPI figures have sort of done their damage a bit, and they're only up 1 point. So, but yeah, so this will be this all of group 2 here, so that should be 1650 here, 1650, 72 and the 80 here. That's where the support will be here. Yeah, so that's that at this point. And we move over to this market. So we need to look at this as wave 1 up here with an A and a B and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this has also got another move to the downside to finish off. If we zoom out from here and look at the bigger picture here, this is how we're looking at it here with wave 1 and 2 and wave 1 and 2. We've obviously talked about this before, of having it move up from here or having one more move down from here. So that seems to be the case here, but we still got another little low to come in here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I'll just go into the 1000. We were on 100, and the same thing here. We talked about this before here as well. So we had 2 options of it moving straight up or moving one more leg to move down here. So yeah, so that's it. So an A and a B and 1 and 2 and 3 and a little 4th here. I don't know how that's going to play out, and then down here again for this. So this will be the long trade over here for this. Once that dips below here and gives us our first high back above the level, a little bit like this in here. So when it pushed back up here, it had a little classic trading levels pattern here, so to speak. So that's what you're looking for here, the arrival, the reaction, first high above the level, the little ABC. So in a nutshell, it's just that pattern there again, the most common pattern when a market's migrating from one place to another. So that's that. And then we come over to the DAX, and once again, here we're also looking for a little wave 3 and 4 in this bigger pattern here as well. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, going up for the 3rd wave here, the same as the S&P, and then the 4th and all of this here. So this sort of helps confirm that the S&P and the banks are on the right track rather than the Nasdaq count. I think that's also another little thing there. I'll just go into the daily chart here, and the 38.2% retracement level here is at the 1770, which is in part of group 2 of the 18 here. So yeah, we can see that the stochastics here just set on pretty much normal settings here. I normally run them pretty fast, but it's still got a little bit to go down here probably to finish this off. So maybe it will finish up on Friday. The normal, we look for Thursday being sort of bearish and shoring up in the afternoon, and then looking for Friday to push up in this case. So yeah, once again, this will be like this. We need this to mosey on down here, maybe a bit further. There's a lot of support at 18 here, and all our little long trades in here, we've been out of those now. We've been stopped out at this point, and we'll be looking for, this is where it starts to get a bit tough in here, all of this here, but we'll do our best to navigate this little move up here to trade this up here. This wave 4 will be a little bit of a pain, but still wave 2 here was quite complex, so wave 4 over here might be quite simple. We'll see. But yeah, we'll look to trade this one up here in due course. And yeah, so from 1 day we can go into 1000 and just have a little look at this top area here. So as wave 3 here, I haven't really settled on the right count here. It does look like we've got a little impulse wave here, but we also had that little impulse wave here, so I'm a little bit, I mean, obviously we have to turn that into a corrective wave. The 38.2% is a bit lower, so we can come down here further into group 2. So you can organize group 2 here, 720, good enough there for the time being. And this 1780 and 17650 here, good enough for the time being. That will be the support area. If it comes down into here, this is where it will find support. And if that is the case, then we'll be looking for the first high above the level over here to move in long. That said here, if this breaks out of this trend channel here, then on the 18.2 we can look to go long. And if it did move up from here, let's just look at this as wave 1 and 2 here. There would be 3, 4 and 5 up here, and then the ABC. Do you know what I mean? So we need that 5 waves there to help us. And if that is the case, then we'll be moving up, taking these tops out up here for that. So yeah, it will be up there. So yeah, we just need to be a little bit patient here, and there are different ways to count this. You know, I could have this as a WXY here, as you know, an ABC and an ABC, but I'd just rather wait a little bit until I get confirmation that we're going to basically be leaving this correction, and I just don't have that yet. I think we'll get that on the Friday. Then we'll come over to the FTSE here, and yeah, I mean, this looks a little bit odd, but basically it's the same pattern as the, you know, the S&P 500 and the banks as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here coming in late. Oh no, that's even later still, isn't it? That's sort of, that's more in line with, gee, that's more in line with the Bank of America actually. 24, yeah, it is actually. Still have 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and we've still got some long positions in here. We were going to just sort of hold them through a lot of this and you know, continue to the upside. I mean, the count's pretty good. It's, you know, it's always been, you know, all of this has always been a bit messy in certain places, but it's still panned out reasonably well. I mean, obviously, you know, it's going to have problems at old highs, you know. I mean, Bitcoin's at old highs at the moment, so it's sort of fluttering around, you know, at old highs as well here. So when we look at, you know, it's just natural really for markets to do that, you know. So this is the 65 level here. So you know, not quite, you know, 69 was the high here, but it's really all about this particular level. So this consolidation around here, so this is a weekly chart. If we go to a daily chart, we just expect that consolidation here, you know. It's as simple as that. That's the 65 medium level here, and it's doing its thing. So, you know, this could actually just go straight up from there, or could have another little leg down, but it's corrective, and wave 4 could be here. You know, it's the same. This is the same as really the S&P and the Nasdaq, and that this same wave 4 business going on here. So anyway, just you know, just to get that thing across the top there. So we'll be looking at a pattern, you know, some sort of messy sort of pattern like this, if this was the 8,000 here, and we haven't pushed above here yet. You know, this is what we want to do. We want to push above here. We'll be taking out our long trades here, and then we'll chill and we'll come back in over here for that. So if we go to the 1,000 tick area here for this. So we've got the arrival here, the reaction in 3 waves, and it looks like a reasonable 5 waves up here. So we could look at that as wave 1 and 2 at this point. And then we'd need wave 3, 4 and 5 to finish that off up here for this. So this is where we'll get these long trades out at that point. We could move the stop up a little bit. I'll just leave it there. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a nice 5 waves here of 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave in here and the 4th wave. And if you've got a keen eye, you'll see 5 in here. Is that the A and the B and the C back at this point, or is this just the A and then we have a bit of a wild B here with something like this here? That's what I was afraid of if I move the stop, you know what I mean? Because the other markets need to truff on down, so we don't want to get taken out by doing that sort of thing. So we'll just keep that out of the way there for a while, and we basically want to be sort of up here to, we'll probably have to, yeah, we talked about this, didn't we? We'll take a fair whack of it off here, more than 50% at this point, maybe 60%. And then we'll just play out the rest here because we want to build back in on this as these 2 wave 4s. I haven't decided which one we're in here just yet, but we'll get there. But this will be either wave 3 here of this degree or this degree. And then we come over to the Australian markets, and from the November low here, this is the XJO, the X200 as a CFD, by the way, as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 the 3rd wave. The 4th wave we could put here, but it makes such a nice little ABC pattern up there, and we can see that on the top 20 stocks as well here. So on the top 20 on the XTL here, we can see that we've got wave 3 here with an A and a B, and see this came down quite low here, you know, and on this one it hasn't come down that low, but I think it's still the best configuration here. Now I could put wave 5 over here, we mentioned before, we could have a top in there. We could do that, or we can leave wave 5 up here and look at this as 1 and 2 here. Now this 1 and 2 business here, we may end up seeing this come down here before going up again here. So this wave 2 may end up over here, because CBA here, it does appear that it's got 5 waves on that little move for our biggest bank here. So this here, we're looking at wave 2 here, but we may get wave 2 over here, because it's possible to count that down here as 5 waves. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to come down here. It's possible. It may not. It may just come straight down here a little bit, go up. The thing is, you can go long above that top there now. That's one positive thing. So not quite sure how that's going to play out there, but that's what we're up against here. So with the XJO here, we may have this as an A and a B and a C wave here to come down, which is a little bit annoying. So if I go to, well, we're on 1,000 ticks from the daily just to, so we've got our wave 1 up here, and we've had this as wave 2 here. I could possibly count this up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and that would be all okay. But the banks are telling us that we may get this wave 2 over here for this. So this may become a B wave up here, because I can see that, you know, I could count it as you know, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we've got overlap here on that. So to look at this as some sort of ABC for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave up here is also valid as well. So this may end up playing out here as wave 1 here, and 2 here, and 3 coming down, and 4 and 5 here for this. So I'm a little bit unsure about that. So yeah, that is a bit of an issue. I'm just not quite sure on the intraday basis for that. And like I said, we've got to be, you know, mindful that I don't think we can put wave 5 here. It's possible, you know, as the top there. It's possible. I mean, this wave 2 here is getting a little bit big. You know, that's also, I mean, here is fine. Here is kind of stretching it a little bit, and it's sort of a bit fearful at that point. So any of these long trades here, I think they need to be protected at this particular point with a stop just under the current low here. So you'll probably get stopped out, but at least they will be protected at that point. So we just got to see how this plays out. I know what will probably happen. We'll get some sort of little dip down here, and then we'll end up going back up here, but if that's the case, we'll build in long again over here. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Cheers.